Bonjour à tous, привет, друзья. Welcome back again. So my name is Jesse, and then in today's wonderful discussion, we're talking about another important topic. So in the previous video, we learned about the three types of people, right? We had the victim, we have the villain, then we have what the victors. We had those who are suffering, those who are suppressing, and then those who are coming to save. So in today's discussion, we're talking about the four types of people based on change. The four types of people based on change. So what is change? So change is something that happens to everything on this world. On this side of time, everything undergoes change. You and I undergo one who have to undergo change. There's something they call the principle of change or the law of change. And the law of change states that everything is in the process of becoming something different. Everything is in the process of changing. Change is one of the constants in this world. It's something that you should be certain of. Nothing stays the same. Everything must go through change. It has to go through change. So the change can be a positive change or a negative change. Can be an incremental change or a decremental change. Can be a change that brings growth or a change that brings decay. So everything is going through change. So human beings have the capacity to induce change. We have the capacity to fit the world, to change our surroundings to meet us. That explains why anytime you move to a new location, moving to a new location is a change. Even when you move to a new location, when you go to that place, you make sure that you change the place to fit what you want, right? What you have on your mind. So change first of all must start in our mind. If you cannot change something in your mind, it's very difficult for you to change it outside. Even before you do any change, you have to first of all start with it in your mind. So let's take this city, right? This was in 1876. Can you guess this city? Unless you look at the current city now, you don't know that what that city is. That is New York, right? So in 1870s, this was how New York was, and over time it has undergone through several changes. That is something about change. So nothing stays the same. Humans have the capacity to change things. You and I have the capacity to change things. So there's this saying that no condition is permanent. So whatever condition you are inside, you have to understand that it's not permanent. You have to change it. You have the capacity to change it. Just like humans have the capacity to change this city from this state to this final state. Again, can you guess this city? If you look at 2005, you may not be able to know what this city is. But if you look at it now, you can actually guess what this city is. Can you guess it? This is Dubai. So humans have the capacity to change things, to adapt the world, or to change our surroundings. So you and I have that capacity to do that. So when it comes to change, there's something they call the status quo. The status quo. So what is the status quo? So the status quo refers to the existing state of affairs, right? The existing state of affairs. It can be values, can be structures, it can be social systems. So how things are in their current state. It usually refers to the standard that everybody has accepted. So that is the standard we have accepted to be the state of affairs. So every society, every country, every group of people have an existing state of affairs. So how things are done and how conditions are supposed to be. Every society, you and I have in mind, we have a perception of how things are supposed to be done, how conditions are supposed to be, and how things are supposed to be, the state at which things are supposed to be. So it appears in politics, it appears in every aspect of life. But based on these things, we can group people, we can group the entire world based on how we see the status quo. So we have those that want to maintain the status quo, and we have those who want to go before the status quo. So there's something they call in my language sankofa, right? There are people that they want to go to the way the things were. We even have that perception that sometimes we want to go to how the things were like before. For example, we wish for the day, or we long for the day that maybe dollar was so cheap, maybe grivna was 15 grivna to $1. You understand, something that is very cheap. Let's say $1 is to one CD, which is very, 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 very good and very cheap. It was a status quo at that time, but change has occurred. But most people want to go to that point. So people that want to go to the status quo ante are called the reactionaries. So the reactionaries are those who prefer the status quo ante, right? They are those that they prefer the way things were before. They don't want the current change. They want to go back to those days, them times. They are the people that want those things like that. And then we have those that maintain the status quo. They are the conservatives, right? So the conservatives are those that they want to maintain the standard. They want to be where it is. They don't want to see any change. They want how it is. They want to follow the same procedure, do the same thing. That is one way people approach change. There's also another way. This is not the best. All of them have their good side, they have their bad side. But I'll prefer and I'll suggest that the best way, the people that change the world, are not people that maintain the status quo, but those that create a new status. They create a new change. They are those that they set a new limit. They set a new standard. They make sure that they want to bring the world from that current state to a new current state. So there are two approaches to that. We have those that go with a gradual approach. They do it incrementally, step by step, right? And there are those that go with a radical or dynamic approach, which is just like the radical innovation. So those that go with the gradual approach are called the reformists. They try to bring a new change. They try to change the status quo, but they are not doing it in a very radical way or in a very drastic approach. They are doing it incrementally. They are doing it step by step. They are trying to conform. Somebody like Martin Luther, right? He wanted to change the system, but he started with thesis. Then later on started giving lectures step by step. So a reformist is somebody who is also a revolutionary, right? So those that approach change, who want to set a new standard, who want to break the status quo in a drastic or a radical approach, are called the revolutionaries, right? A reformer and a revolutionary are the same thing. They have the same agenda, to bring a new change, to bring a new status, to break the status quo. But a reformer uses an evolutionary approach. He's bringing a status change, a new status, a new change of affairs, but he's using it evolutionary, that is step by step, incrementally. But a revolutionary is somebody who's doing it in a radical way. So let's talk more about this. So first of all, we have those who want to either maintain a status quo or go before the change was. And we have those who want to change the status quo already entirely. They want a new thing. They are tired of the normal stuff. They are tired of the average. They are tired of the mediocre. They don't want to be average. They want to go beyond that. So those that want to maintain the status quo are the conservatives, right? They oppose changes. To be a conservative is good in an aspect, especially when it comes to principles. When it comes to principles, when it comes to truth, when it comes to values, it is very, very good at when it comes to truth and then principles like standard of living, values. You become conservative as possible. You cannot say that in the olden days like truth was good, so now you are changing it, or in the olden days marriage was between a man and a woman, so now you are going to change it. No, you should still be conservative concerning values that are truths, values that are principles, right? You should be conservative when it comes to certain things. When it comes to principles, there are laws, you cannot change those laws. So it's good that in that aspect you become conservative. But the other thing that you should not be conservative, you should actually approach in a different way. So there are people that want that they want to become conservative, and then we have those that want, who are reactionary, right? Reactionary is what in my language they call sankofa. They want to go to those times, them times before the change came. They are the reactionaries. And then there are a lot of people like that. They, when anytime there's a new change, they want to go back to that the previous time. They don't want the current state. They want to go to those times, and they are always fighting to go to those times. The time of hardship, the time of backwardness. That is not the best. Okay. Then the next group of people are those that operate with a reformist approach, right? They want to change the status quo, but they do it in a more gradual and incremental change. That is where you should strive to be. That is where I should strive to be. And then the next one is the revolutionaries. So the revolutionaries are those that approach change rapidly, radically, and then drastically. That is where all of us are supposed to be. You should be a reformist. You should be a revolutionary. People that are reformist and revolutionary are those that change the world. They are those that I remembered for generations to come. We remember Isaac Newton, we remember Martin Luther King Jr., we remember Martin Luther himself, we remember Jesus, remember Muhammad, remember all these people because they were revolutionaries and they were reformists. But people who were conservative, who accepted or maintained the status quo, we never hear of them. People who were even reactionaries, we hardly hear of them. Those who wanted to go back to those things, we don't hear about them. So in life, there are some things you should be conservative about, but most of the things you are supposed to be a reformer. You're supposed to change it. You should not meet things at how they are and then continue to let it be where they are. If you see something that is wrong, you should what actually change it. You should actually reform it to bring about something that's going to transform the world. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope I'm going to see you as a reformer. I'm going to see you as a revolutionary. For it's only reformers and revolutionaries that change the world. Thank you.